Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. Yesterday we were working on our respawn from getting killed without falling in a chasm. So if we get shot here, we will pass out. After 2 seconds, game over. We have an option to continue or quit. If we continue, we load from our last save file, which is currently meditating. As soon as we walk, we'll wake up. And it looks like this time we fixed, well, maybe not. Oh man, see, look at this. We're paused. When we interact with certain things like NPCs, see, look at this. We can just walk right over our mage here. So what our save utility does is save the data that's in the player, and then it loads it. Once we hit continue, it'll load all that player data. It'll overwrite the player data, and then it resets our scene. So our scene is correct. Like, this is the right place to be, but what isn't correct is the NPCs, or like it's like collidable map. You know, we're on the right scene because we're walking, you know, we're colliding with the right things, so we're in the right spot as far as our game's concerned. But look, we can't push the crates here, and we can't interact with a sign unless we go somewhere and come back, and then it'll work again. So let's try to respawn again and see if we can notice anything else about this issue here. Okay, we continue. See, it pauses. It also gives us an option to meditate within the signpost, which is not correct. But let's see if we walk down and walk back up. See, look at that. We still don't refresh this. So our wizard is still broken until we do a warp zone and come back. So something we're setting upon a warp zone would fix our reload here. I'm not sure what it is though. So we might dig through the warp zone logic and see what we reset, and see if our NPCs have anything to do with it. See how we might be able to load our NPCs. So for right now, I do want to check in our map declarations. We have an NPC table. NPC table. Okay, so we are, let me see here. You know, it's like we're updating the NPC because they're walking and everything. So we know we have them and they're in the right spot. Their collision is just not working. So I just want to take a look at how we're kind of doing this. You know, every scene has an NPC table. We specifically instantiate one, here in 7.2. That's our main one. That's the mage in the main screen there. We give them a state machine. We assign them a state machine, and then we give them an option of walking. And then once they are in the NPC table, we may or may not attach a moving dialog box to them. But this isn't where we update any of them. So let's see, NPC update. No. Play state, NPC. No. Probably just an entity update. Okay, we cycle through. Here we go. We have an NPC count. We cycle through our NPCs. If they're not off screen, we're updating. That's not the issue. They are updating. They're walking fine. It's just that we don't do the collision. So we have this entity to player collision. See, that should be like player to enemy collision, player to chasm collision. And then we should have a player to NPC stop. I don't see it. Collidable map objects. A crate. Okay, so I'm not seeing where we're actually colliding with an entity. We have this vague one up here that says player to, well, see, like we update the NPC, but then here, okay, so I don't know where we're doing the entity collision here for the NPCs. It might be in the player class where we have a specific thing. Let's see, in the update. No. So where are we actually doing this? NPC collision in the scene. Okay, so we check our player. Okay, so NPC collision is in our scene instead of our map. Not sure if that makes a ton of sense. Well, we do check our other collision here. Okay, so would we be shifting or something here? Because we aren't doing collision if we are not shifting, or if we are shifting, we wouldn't be doing this collision. So let's print up if our scene is shifting or not, and that could be an indicator about why our collision detection is not working. So let's try that first. So we'll print up the scene view dot shifting. Okay. All right. So a warp zone is not a shift, but let's see if it triggers a shift upon a death here. No, it is not shifting. And we don't have collision there. So look, shifting true gets there. We still... Okay, so what changes from a warp zone that all of a sudden the NPC collision's working? I don't know. So let's see. We have this NPC collision. If we're not shifting, we cycle through our current map row. So if we don't reset our map... No, this is right. Unless our scene map row is off. Let's take a look at our save player or a load player utility here. Load player data. We do pull the current map row and column. And then we set the current map equal to the scene view's current map. So we do reset our current map. But do we are basically, we're doing this collision based on the self map row which in the scene is argument for the scene when it was initialized. So since we are, I'm trying to think, we might have to manually reassign these map row and map column, because when we go to make the scene, well, they are assigned. Yeah, they are assigned. Because the scene init, which actually, yeah, we don't reinitialize a map, we just I think yeah, this is a little tricky because we don't reinitialize the scene here in our load utility, do we? If we go to our load utility, we don't reinitialize a scene, we just overwrite the current map values of our scene. So we're overriding the current map's row and column of our scene view here. And then when we're checking collision, a self map row, self map column of not our scene but our global map. So that's got to be it. Since we're doing this based on our global map, we need to assign this map row to our scene. So a map row and a map column is different than a current map dot row. So we kind of have to say that there's a map row. Well, how would we do this? We need to give the scene the map row. So where do we, when we initialize a scene, what variables do we give it? When we initialize a scene, when we say scene view gets, oh lordy, where do we do this? Scene view gets okay. So what we do, this isn't it. That's just for warping. Right here. Okay. So look, we give it, okay, so this is the issue here, I think. So I think when we warp zone, we reassign our scene's current map row, because right here we initialize it with 112. So that means our scene's map row and map call is 112. And when we load our data, it still thinks that the map row data is 112 and not 72, and that's where we're doing our NPC collision. So we have to change our scene views .map row upon a load. Now we don't need to save. Shoot, man. The scene views. See, and it's not the scene views current map. It's not the current map row. It's just map row. Because if we look at our scene class, we have a map row and a map column. Oh, son of a gun. No, I think this, okay, so that is the same. Map row, current map row, map column. And then Oh, lordy, okay. Let's check out our warp and see if we're noticing anything different. I thought that was it, but I'm now thinking that's not. So look, when we do our warp zones here, reset entities upon warp, we are resetting the entity's original position. I don't think that's it. Because the entities are there and they're in a fine position. It's just that we're not checking collision detection with them. So let's check one more time for this NPC collision and just take a look. You know, we're checking the map row and map column of our scene, yes, which gets assigned in our load utility. Let's see, load player, and that is a map. See, it's a current map dot row, current map dot column. Okay, so the current map is different than the map row, because if we look at our scene class, we have a map row map call, but we also have a current map, which I don't think we assign. Oh yeah, we do right here. So we have a current map. So when we say sceneview.currentMap.map row map call, that's these two parameters from our map. It is not these two parameters from our scene. So when we load our data, we need to overwrite the scene views dot map row and map call with the map row map call we have for the map we're loading from, and then it should work. So let's go to our load utility, and we'll put, instead of, we're assigning the current call to be the data we get from our Bitzer deserialization, but then we want to go into the global scene view and go into the dot map row and the dot map column and put that value as well. So the map row is here and then map column. So it looks a little weird. I'll give you that. But this does serve two distinct purposes. We need to, because we do all of the entity collision in the scene and not the map, we need to also reset the map column map row of our scene. So with that done, I'm thinking we fix the bug here, so that we should collide with an NPC upon loading a game, and we'll see right now if it works. So we die, we continue, we wake up, and we are now colliding with our stuff, and we can interact with scenes again. Can we push? Yes, we can push. Okay. We did it. We did it. Okay, so now I'm not sure how much more I want to get done, because I had a big long day today at work. But let's see. One thing we do need to fix is when we talk to a signpost, we need to make sure to not be able to cycle up and down like this. So let's go check our dialog box class, and we should have when we press up or down, where is that? It's an option selector, I want to say, option selector was part of the game over state, but we're looking for the yes or meditate yes or no. So the meditate values that we do, right? Where is it? meditate. Yes, this is in the dialog box. So do we have any time where we press up? No. Or W. W. Okay. This we only want to do this if the type is idle. If it's an idle type. So we have what? We have a class type, but we have this optional parameter called option. And if the option, okay, so if the option here, if the option of our dialog box is equal to that of a string idle, then we want to do these sounds. So let's see. We should not play the sounds if we click this. Correct. Okay, so that's working. And if we do this one, we'll get the sounds, which is working. We can meditate, we can wake up, we can load our game, and we still have collision with our NPCs. Now, we need to rehaul pits so that they take in the chasm. Well, you know what? I mean, that actually worked. It did trigger a chasm fall, which is nice. And this is working now. That's cool. Now, our pits are screwed up still, because look at that. We can like walk. Oh, we can kind of walk over them. I don't know how bad we want to redo that. It's like, well, look at that. We're not even dragged into them. What? Does this pit drag us? No. The heck? Our pits just stopped working. Okay, whatever. Okay, I think we do need to fix this. I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm trying to think of any other fix we can do tonight. We have... Because basically this old pit method... basically our new chasm method is checking which tile ID we draw, and if it's in a certain location, we know it's a chasm. So we kind of need to update that with more chasm tiles, and then we can add these as effectively just chasms that we collide with and take out our pit logic altogether, because pit was like our first attempt where we can kind of escape the gravity pull of a pit, but it's just not consistent. We are triggering those at least. Let's see how we're doing the chasm insertion. So it's like I think we have a table of chasms. Let me see here. Okay, we have a table of chasms here. So where do we insert those chasms? Do we do any here? We do. Okay, so this is what we're doing. For the chasm, we have a range of tile ID values for the chasm. So, and we were doing the same thing with pits. So basically, tile ID 14 through 16, we were doing chasms. So I'm kind of curious if we just extend this to 14, if we can get pits working as chasms. I don't know if it'll be that simple though, but if we look at our thing here, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so stairways would technically become chasms if we were to do this greater than 13. But like, I just want to say, you know, we would take this out. So, like, we don't have any pits. Hopefully that doesn't break any logic. But now the tile ID of what used to be a pit is now considered a chasm. So it should insert a chasm into the above ground level layer. As long as we drew it on the right layer. And then it should treat it like a chasm, which it looks like it does. Okay. That's cool. So now it is the chasm logic, which pulls us in a lot more reliably than our old pit logic. So that's good. I'm kind of like, I'm not sure if it let us falls, although it doesn't let us fall. Oh yeah, it does. It does let us fall all the way before triggering that. So that's good. I say we probably just get rid of pits, because we're using our new and improved chasms. And what we'll do is we'll say that this does start at, well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what it is in the master sheet. But let's look for any .pit reference and just make sure we aren't doing stuff with it anymore. So let's say that we don't have a table of pits anymore. They're just chasms. And we don't have any table in our map for pits. And also, we don't update our pits, our pit count. Okay, so those are all commented out. .pits. Do we use them anywhere else? I don't think we do, so let's see if our game is still working without pits anymore. We'll see. Well, it's like, make sure our chasms work. Yep. Looking good. Let's make sure our pits work. Nice. Sweet. Okay. Nice. Okay. So it looks like pits are safe to remove now. So I'm just going to go and remove all of our references to pits. Look at how bad the formatting is on that one. Okay. No more pits. Why game break when pits? Okay, well, we fixed that, so that's good. Okay. So we've got the pits fixed. We've got the NPCs updating upon a reload. Oh, but look at this. The stairway is now a pit. Maybe not. Because I thought we changed our pit sprite name or chasm. It should be a chasm if it's a value between... Where do we do it? Where do we do it? Is it in our data downloader? Yeah, okay. So look, if it's greater than 13 and smaller than 32, so if we look at our master sheet here, we're saying if it's greater than 13, which this is 6, 9, 12, 13, so greater than 13, which is this. and smaller than 22. So there's 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 22 would be here. But see how the stairway is part of that greater than 13, smaller than 22. So I thought that the stairway here would become a chasm and pull us in, but it does not. It's like these chasms still pull us in, but this one I thought for sure that would treat like a chasm, because oh, you know what? It's probably because that's a ground level, not an above ground level. So we can kind of get away with that. I don't like that. We'll switch it in the master sheet just so that doesn't screw us up in the future, because pits can only exist in the above ground layer, if I'm remembering correct. That's kind of cool that it saved us like that, because yeah, look at this. We turn off the ground level and that's where the stairs are. But if we were to load where our dungeon is, we can see that all of the chasms are in the above ground layer. And actually, yeah, it actually looks like this left side shouldn't work as a chasm. Let's test that real quick, because we didn't draw that correctly, so I wouldn't be surprised if that is broken. What? Come on. That still works. I'm surprised that works. Is that we might be opening an old master sheet. Let's just open up a new master sheet just to make sure we are on the updated one. We should have a master sheet. Above ground. Oh, it is drawn. Okay, it is drawn in the above ground. We just can't see it. Okay. So that makes me feel better that it is drawn there. Okay, cool. So let's save this. I do want to edit our master sheet to shift the stairs next to the pits here. So why do we have two pits here? I don't think that's necessary. We do have two pits. I don't know why we have the two pits. They're both the same transparency, so I'm just gonna delete this one. We'll move our stairs over here. Even though this wasn't broken, I just don't want those intermingled. And then what we'll do is I don't know, we don't need two, but I'm going to move this over one so we can put all of our chasm art next to that. Oh, and you know what? Maybe we'll do a pit for grass, and then we'll do like a singular pit for the dungeon, for the dirt areas. Okay, we'll do this the better way the next round with the dark brown. We'll try to do it the smart way. And the smart way is you highlight a selection, you pick the color you want, and you do Shift R, and you go from this color to this color. That was awesome. Yep, that's great. Okay, so that looks good. Let's save that. Let's export this as, actually save this as a master sheet PNG, and then we will reload our tiled, and we will need to open it up again and redraw anything we might have switched. So let's see if in the above ground layer we can now draw one of these pits. So we'll see if those work now. And then we also need to go check our grassy pits and make sure we didn't, yeah, see, look at that. We screwed this up. So in the ground level, we will instead put our stairs back. And then here, we will put our pit back. It was in the above ground. Okay. Okay, so we need to have our above ground be, oopsie. How do we snag here? So ground, and then in the above ground, we will put our grassy pit. Oh, how do we screw that? Okay, we need to erase this. And then put our grassy pit in the above ground layer. And then same with this, we need to erase these. And we need to put our above ground pit right there. I think that's it. I do want to take out the meditation symbols from here because we don't insert any more blocks. We don't insert any more idols. Look at this. We changed this though. This looks all screwed up. Just gonna take out some of that stuff. It's tough because if there's ever a spot where you can't walk by the time you teleport to the next scene, it needs to be unwalkable if we don't want bugs. So I just need to put some bricks there, and then we should be able to save our progress. And you know what? Let's actually put another idol over here just because it's right outside the dungeon. So we'll add that there, and we'll just have to manually insert it. We do need to figure out how to automate the insertion of the idols because right now that is broken. So we will need to figure that out. But for right now, I'm going to save our master tiled. I'm going to export as a global map. And then we're going to reload. And actually, before we reload, we're going to insert a idol into a dialog box that is at, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 6 on our map over here. So let's see if we can add that in. Because if we load our game, are we running 2 of our game right now? Yeah, we are. Let's kill this. Okay, let's first see if our pits or our chasms. Oh no, we can't walk over here. We must have accidentally drawn something there. Yeah, we must have accidentally drawn something. Above ground level. We're gonna erase anything that might be blocking us. That sucks. Like if I accidentally click on something and draw something, it might stop us if the thing we draw is within a certain range. So that kind of sucks. But we will export this as a global map and we'll test it again. Okay, so yeah, it looks like we did draw something. Let's see. These chasms do work too. These standalone chasms. So that's cool. Let's try these ones. These ones should work the same. Nice. Nice. Okay, and then we need, well, first of all, let's check the last pit and make sure that works. Uh-oh, we have some more invisible blocks, dude. Shoot. When we changed, oh man, when we changed the tile IDs, I think that screwed up some of this stuff. So we might, that sucks. There's like no way to test whether or not there's an invisible block. Gosh, dude. Because the invisible block would be an invisible tile that we drew in the above ground layer and we can't see it. So we kind of just have to say, well, let's just make sure there's no above ground level tiles in any tile that we don't want to be blocked on. And that's the danger of redrawing tiles. Oh, see, look at this, because this one turned. Why did that one turn invisible, you know? So like, I don't know what happened when we reloaded our tile sheet that got screwed up. But we're gonna have to be careful, make sure we don't accidentally draw any sprites on any layer that we don't intend to, because it can break the game like that. So we gotta be really careful. as we're broken right here, because yeah, there were a bunch of things here. I don't know how that got so screwed up. We must have, when we were scrolling across the screen, I think we just accidentally drew some above ground level tiles. So I'm just gonna make sure this page 2 doesn't have any. I'm just gonna erase anything that might be a top level tile that isn't supposed to be. There's got to be a better way of doing this, of checking. You know, we have to be real careful when we're modifying this file, because it can break the game. Okay. Okay. I don't know about any of these though. You know, it's like, how are we supposed to know? I mean, you know, we're probably not keeping a lot of this layout. This has always just been like a placeholder so that we can at least like look at what we're playing. So this isn't the real level design of the town anyway, so we'll probably start from scratch with the design process once we're really gearing up towards the demo level design. So we will export this as a global map. We'll see if we get stuck on any invisible blocks again. Son of a... We do get stuck on blocks. Why did we get stuck there? Okay, if this doesn't fix it, I really don't know what's wrong. Because we did used to have little bricks there. So I don't know if we loaded the wrong master tiled or what accidentally happened there. Come on. Okay, so that's better. So we do need to pull from a 7-4 a 6-6 idle so that we can interact with it, because right now we can talk to the idle, but it does not do anything for us. So let's... Was it 7-2? Let's see. I already forgot. 7-4. 7-4, 6-6. So on our declarations... when we go to insert an idle, see, that should work. I don't know why that doesn't work. But when we go to do idle insertion here, yeah, we want a 7/4. So we're going to go into the dialog box global table on our 7/4 scene and say that it is a meditate idle on a 6/6. So since it's the 6 and the 6, we should do tile size times 5, because one of the widths is the tile size, so we'll just say tile size times 5 for both of these. Oh, and I messed up this. Okay, so now we should have a talkable idle here on 7/4, and we can meditate if we want right outside here, and then if we die, we should load back to our meditate. Now, I do want to check. Last time we died and then reloaded and then died without falling in a chasm, we didn't play our death animation. See how we just changed to our last frame. So we have to set our current frame of our death animation, or we pull a refresh. Yeah, we pull a refresh. If we look at our animation table, we have this animation refresh that resets the current frame so that it can play again, because the death animation doesn't loop. It just plays through and stops. So we need to refresh this to reset our current frame back to 1 so that we can play it more than once. So once we get hit, once we change to a death animation, we need to refresh the animation before we change to it. So anytime we do this change to death animation, death change, is it change animation like that? Change animation death. Okay. It's gotta be right here. So let's just say that we go into our current animations table at our actually, yeah, we need to refresh. We need to say dot animations, current animation, refresh. Okay, I think that'll work. So let's test it. We need to die more than once with the death animation. So there it plays out. Uh-oh. A current animation is nil on playstate 644. Right here. It's because this gets set more than once, and then dot animations. I guess what we could do, yeah, I think we did this wrong, so let me just see. Let's see if we have any spot where we're doing this change animation again, and we'll just make sure we're running it correctly, like on the dot animations table, which it's not in the dot animations, it's in the entity. Yeah, it's just in the entity. So we should just not do the dot animations. We just go to current animation on our player and refresh it. And then hopefully that will be it. So let's see here. We should play out, no problem. Yep, we reload. Uh-oh, what the? Refresh animation made us stood up. Let's only refresh the animation upon the chasm state. Well, this isn't the chasm state. It'd have to be upon load. We'd have to refresh the animation, but is it always in death state? I guess. Yeah, I guess it would be. Let's see if we load our player, we need to reset our player's animation, which should be death because we only load when we're dead. So it'll pull the last frame of our dead data, and then when we hit continue, it refreshes that dot animation, but then we change to a dot meditate. So the next time we die, the death should have a current frame starting at 1 and not ending on 8. So let's... Or not starting at 8, rather. Yeah, cool. That works. Sweet. Okay. I mean, it's looking good. We fixed a bunch of random stuff today, which is good. It's feeling more wholesome. It's feeling more cohesive and way less buggy than it was yesterday. We're gonna take a look at our project timeline here, or the what do we call it? The board roadmap. Okay. So death animation and respawn, that was a high priority item that we finished. We've got the death animation both for a chasm and a normal death, plus the respawn, but also adding saving and loading, which was huge, and it's something we didn't even plan for. So we added we added saving and loading. So let's say that these are now complete. Saving and loading, we've finished our death animation and respawn. We can mark this not priority anymore. Wow, we've got a lot of tough stuff done in the past couple weeks here. Because if you look at what we have left to do, we have the level design for the dungeon, which we have all the pieces for it. We just need to design the actual level. We need an opening cinematic. We've got the title screen art and music, actually. We just haven't implemented the music, but I've got it made, so we accidentally did that, which is good. Yeah, we need the level design for the overworld, but for the dungeon. Touch up inventory art, a basic shop, which we already have the shop keep and the inventory system, so the basic shop shouldn't be too bad to add. A couple of heart containers in the overworld. We've already got a show off item, we've got a treasure chest, so heart containers probably won't be that hard to implement. Wow. Yeah, so the toughest stuff we have left to do is the level design for the dungeon and the level design for the overworld for the demo here. So it's like we finally get to design our level because now we have things in place, right? One thing we don't have right now is our health bar. Our heart bar does not expand more than the 3 right now. So like what we're doing is we're only rendering one heart sprite, but we're rendering it 8 times. So we kind of need like a total hearts that we only render however many total hearts you have instead of the whole 8, so that it doesn't look like the player can get more hearts and revive themselves. And we can also start to add hearts in the crates and not just coins. So that will be easy because we already have the heart picture and we already have the destructible crates. So we can experiment with putting crates with hearts in them in the dungeon here to kind of help out the players. And then, yeah, we just have some expositional, we have like the opening of the game to work out for the demo where the mage is going to be telling you a little bit about the world, teaching you how to use the magic real quick, and giving you a little bit of exposition there. The collision detection for enemy entities is just so that they don't collide in walls, so we'll add like a Breath of the Wild type fade, where once the gecko or whatever enemy kind of gets spooked and runs away, they kind of fade to nothing and get removed, so that we don't have them walking over walls, and they can't walk over walls. But once the collision's there, they'll be stuck forever unless they actually remove themselves. So we'll have to add that. We probably need to add gamepad support before we submit to Steam for the demo. So that will probably be a little tricky, because I've never done that in Lua before, or in Love2d. So overall, we're in great shape for the demo. Yeah, we're in really great shape, because we little things like we might want to add, like, you know, like new overworld sprites for a little more variation in the level design. That'll be part of these 8 scenes. So I think in terms of what we're gonna do next, I think dungeon design is probably next, because we want to kind of tackle the hardest things. So we'll have to design, we'll be able to start designing level dungeons. So what else we need here is the smooth chasm sprites for all angles, because if a corner touches, we need to kind of make a top left corner chasm, because there's like 2 pixels of stitching on the pixel art for the chasms. So we need to make like all the corners so that we can paint a smooth looking dungeon. Because if you look at our dungeon right now, we have all these rough angles because we just did, see how like the top, we have a top edge and a right edge and a left edge, but then the corners, we don't have like a top left and right corner to match these chasms. Because if you look at this chasm, right, it's got like this gnarly hole shape in the side of it. So we kind of want to match that for all these pieces, all these edge pieces. Okay, here, before ads rip us out, let's do a git commit real quick, and then we'll call it a night. We'll say we added, we removed pits, or we turned pits into chasms, so we got rid of our pits. Because now we just have the chasms, that they worked better. And then we also just did a couple of bug fixes for like ensured NPC collision upon load game. But yeah, other than that, we didn't do too much, but we did fix. Yeah, we fixed what I wanted to do today, so that was good. And we commit right before midnight, so I'll run the credits here and we'll call it a night, and we'll find someone to raid out to. So thank you for watching. I hope you all have a great night, and we will raid out here. Let's see, is Salto streaming? No. Okay, we'll raid out here to Brightside. Hope you have a good night. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with some dungeon level design, so that should be fun. Is the raid working?